Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Not Aspirational. I'm your host, Hannah Aaron Brown. Welcome to the pod. Happy almost Thanksgiving. Happy Blackout Wednesday to those who celebrate. I know I am. Today, I am joined by a very, very special guest, friend of the pod, and licensed psychologist, Dr. J.D. Barton. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much, Hannah Aaron Brown. I'm so happy to be on the pod.
I'm so happy to have you back. You've been on this podcast many times before, but this is the first time you're really wearing your Dr. J.D. Barton hat, and I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, we met when we were little babies. I was just a grad student, and now I'm many years on licensed clinical psychologist. That's my whole gig.
It's so sick. It's so awesome. It really is crazy to think about like all the lives we've lived since we met each other.
Yeah, it's been wild, but also like nice. It's been real nice to get to see each other in different phases.
Yeah.
We were two single girls in this city, and now you're married and I'm like wifed up.
You are wifed
with a man, for those listening to my voice, obviously. But just in case somebody was like, did he say wife?
What? Wait, also you were second place in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I got to the $500,000 question and then walked away. So I guess if it was in places, technically it'd be a third place because I left at 250. Yeah.
You had such a chic episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Thank you so much. That's so nice of you.
I mean, everything you do is chic, but like I remember you made this like sweet speech where you're like, could do a lot with that money for the people in my life, could do a lot with it for myself. I think I need to go. And I was like, fuck yes. Fuck yes.
Yeah, that was right at the end of, 8 years of grad school. And so $250,000 was crazy. I had made like $35K as like a resident the year before, like an intern. And that was like, I was going into my like first year of like my postdoc where I was done with my doctorate, but not licensed. And I was going to make $50K. And so it was like,
you're like, I'm
very
out.
Cool. Very cool. And that was literally like 2 weeks after I defended my dissertation. So I was like the brokest I'd ever been. I had the most credit card debt I'd ever had.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was great. After years of always being like, one day I'll have money, I was like, oh, that day is now.
You're like, and we did it. Isn't that frustrating when you're like, I know that I'm meant to live the life of a wealthy person and I'm just not monetarily there, but like spiritually I'm there.
Yes. No, that is, my accountant and I have this conversation all the time where I'm like, the thing about taxes is I don't like them and I don't think they should happen to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, they do happen and you do have to pay them. And I'm like, but if I didn't, my life would be cooler. And he's like, yes. And still, you must pay them. You must pay them. And I'm like, fine.
Fine. Here you go.
Here you go.
I'm so excited to have you on. I wanted to have you on right now because we're heading into the holiday season. Thanksgiving, when this comes out, will be tomorrow. And it can be a very triggering time of year, mental health wise, for all of us, for a myriad of reasons. And so I wanted to give my listeners some like practical tips and tools to take into the holiday season as we're dealing with social situations, work parties, families, body stuff, like all of the above. And I can't think of anyone better than to give us advice.
I'm so honored. I'm so happy to. This is like very real. This is the bread and butter of what I do, is talk with people about family dynamics and your body and how it feels to eat food in front of people who comment on the food that you eat and all of that.
I literally just got off the phone with a person in my life who I love deeply, who was like on their way to a family event and they couldn't find an outfit they liked to wear because their body had recently changed in a way where they're like, nothing is fitting the way I want it to. And I like dressing this way, but when I go to family things, family members will comment and be like, oh, like, is that what you're wearing? Like on what you're wearing or how you look. And it was like heartbreaking because I was like, I don't know what to say to like, guide this person through this because it's everything they're feeling is so real.
100%. It's all so real. And it is the thing of like, you know the people that you're going to be there with. So you kind of you can't read anybody's mind, but you kind of know what they're going to say out loud before they
Totally.
say it. And often it's just so like it makes sense, right? That like one of my old supervisors used to always say, your family always knows how to push your buttons because they're the ones who installed them.
Whew,
It's like, ooh,
that's heavy.
yeah, that is real. That is real, real.
That is real. Damn. And yet they keep pushing them anyway
Yeah, of course. Well, they don't know how
to
not to
not.
is the thing that like a lot of the time, and I don't say this to like, collude with like toxic people or dynamics in your life, right? But like a lot of the things people in our families do to us, they really double down and invest in because they're convinced that what they're doing is out of love, right? So like
Mm,
if they're commenting on your body, it's because they're like, well, I want you to be thin because thin will make you happy because we hate fat people in this world. So like I'd hate for you to be a hateable person. So
right.
instead, I'm going to bully you but with good intentions, right? It's the kind
Hmm.
of thing of like, I think about this all the time. The Reductress years ago did one of their fake headlines that was like, overcritical mother asks daughter why she's not more confident,
It's
right?
like,
And it's that
why do you
thing.
think? Yeah.
Yeah, why do you think? Because you're constantly criticizing me. But the idea
Totally.
is like, no, but when I do it, no, when I do it, it's like fine.
Right.
Yeah. So like it often like I say that not as I said not to like collude with a toxic dynamic, but to often sometimes point out that like this is not forgiveness for it, but like a lot of times people in doing this are trying to do well, and so if you pause and recognize that they do mean well, it can actually help you create better conversations and better boundaries because you can also approach them from a place of like, hey, I know you love me, we're not going to talk about that. And like, I know you love me. I'm not yelling. I'm not mad. I'm just like, I'm not welcoming that anymore. And
Hmm.
I know you're doing it because you love me, but I'm not welcoming that anymore. That kind of vibe,
Yeah.
you know?
I think giving them the benefit of the doubt or just kind of like softening what you're saying, kind of putting that
Yeah.
buffer of like, I know it's coming from a good place. Even
Yeah.
if your instinct is to get defensive and be like, shut the fuck up and stop commenting on my body, you're going to
Right.
get further, fortunately and unfortunately, when you're like,
Yeah.
I know where this is coming from,
Well,
but
because
we're
they're
not
going to
going to
get
do it.
defensive too, right? Like
Right.
if you're like, that's a messed up thing to say to me, a parent who's like, well, I love you, you're my child, I care about you. So anything I say is grounded in love and
Hmm.
care. So you telling me that I'm not being loving to you is insane. So I have to refute everything that you're saying.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's
So like
so real.
starting from that place of like warmth and openness often actually allows other people to like make a change without having to admit that they're wrong.
Which none of us like to do. I
Oh,
literally, any kind of feedback I get, I just have like a mental breakdown. So,
that's not entirely true. As somebody who has talked you through a lot of things that like I actually think you're pretty open to feedback and you
thank
do a
you.
pretty good job.
Stop. You're so sweet. I guess for me, it's like the second I feel judged,
Right.
if the feedback has this tone of like you're fucked up, then I just crumble and I'm like, I am fucked up. You caught me, like, ugh, and then I like feel worse. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Question,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to make this all about me. I'm not going to use this for a free session, but I do want to
Okay.
ask, kind of like piggybacking off of what you were just saying about approaching family members. If a family member is like commenting on your body or what you're eating, or they trigger you in some way where you do have that like kind of emotional reaction, maybe you have to like go to the bathroom and like have a little bit of a cry.
Yeah.
How do you like suggest holding space for like those feelings that might come up without I don't want to say like making it worse, but kind of yeah, like making it harder on yourself to like, have a productive conversation with that person. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, and a productive conversation is a gift that you do not have to give everybody.
Period.
And so like you don't so I would say step 1 in general, right? Emotions, the harder we try not to feel them, the more likely we are to feel them. And so sometimes you actually gave a great example of like sometimes if you're having the feeling, give yourself 10 minutes in the bathroom and go cry
Mm-hmm.
and let it be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody is somebody that, right? Not everybody's like random, racist, fat phobic uncle
Right.
is going to have the conversation, or is going to take it, and is maybe not even worth your time, right? And so sometimes
Period.
there are people, and again, I'm not somebody that says if somebody's like not great to you that they must be cut off in such a big way, but like sometimes people aren't even worth cutting off, right? Sometimes people are not even worth the fight to be like, I'm not going to see you again until next Thanksgiving. So like I'm going to like batten down the hatches and I'm going to get through today and I'm going to move on because I don't even need the drama of like cutting you off in my life, right?
Totally.
Which is also valid. But so I would say like if you need to feel the feelings, let yourself feel the feelings. Trying not to feel the feelings is distracting and
Hmm.
is going to read all over your face. And so like give yourself a cry, give yourself a lap, give yourself things to do. Like, oh shoot, you know what? I'm going to go out and pick us up some extra ice, right? Or like
Hmm.
whatever it is that you need to create space. If you are, um, just needing a little room, take a lap, give yourself some distance, and allow yourself to have some separation while you are super on top of each other in whatever holiday living situation you're in for the time being.
So true. Or take a little walk.
Yeah, we love a walk.
Little turkey walk. I was the other day, like just in a really like low mental health place. And it's so funny because I don't think I'm alone in this, like my impulse is like, I have to, with my anxious attachment, like stay in touch with my phone and the people in my life and like stay
Hmm.
attached to whatever situation I'm in. When the reality is like just creating that space, whether it's a 5 minute walk or running out to get ice or whatever,
Yeah.
can be the thing that allows you to like ground yourself back in. Because when you're feeling spirally, you can forget all the things you learned in therapy. You can
Yeah.
literally be like, am I even on meds? Like, because I don't feel like it right now. Like
Right.
when the anxiety monster takes over, it can be hard to be practical, but that's something so easy that you can do that can really shift how you're feeling and
Oh,
thinking.
100%. A
Yeah.
100%.
Let's talk about holiday anxiety because this is a season
Mm,
of partying. You have office holiday parties, you have social gatherings. And I'm personally someone where often when I leave a social gathering, I'm like, what did I just say? What did I just
hmm.
do? And also I think at this point in the year, a lot of us are feeling very like burned out, very anxious, maybe scared about the state of the world and, just a lot of things going on. So, how can we kind of work through that feeling like after a party or a social gathering during the holiday season where you're like, I made a bad impression. I am horrible. Everyone hates me.
Well, to speak to the sort of undertone, at least of your intro here, right? Hangxiety. So
Hmm.
to start, I generally encourage folks to just do their wise drinking behaviors and habits, which means if you do drink alcohol, showing up to a party with a full stomach to begin with,
Hmm.
alternating your alcohol with water,
Hmm.
really counting drinks, especially going into a party. If it's a holiday party for work, if it's a friend party, if it's whatever, always set the understanding of how am I going to feel if this goes badly, right? And so if there are groups of friends where if you and your friends black out on the regular, like great. I mean,
Yeah,
be
it's
safe.
fine.
Don't like, obviously you should if that's happening often, I would encourage you to, talk to your therapist or physician about maybe reducing your drinking. But that there are safer ways to negotiate that kind of safety. So going into a party and saying to yourself, if I get too drunk, how am I going to feel about that? And saying that beforehand, right? Um, Also being really intentional at the beginning of what your limit is going to be. A lot of times people try to moderate their drinking when they're already moderately drunk. And so
Hmm.
just something to always think about. I often have clients who will say things to me like, I think 4 drinks is like my maximum and that I'm like, okay, I'm like tipsy, but I'm not like blackout, I'm whatever. And then they'll come back to me, they'll be like, I just can't stop at 4. And I'm like, that's because you're asking you 4 drinks in to stop. So I think
Totally.
a lot of this can be done with some like real proactive measures in place. So again, go in with a full stomach so you're not showing up to the holiday party with tiny little tray pass apps that you think is going to be a full meal
Hmm.
and having martinis and you're in trouble. But then to speak to then the backside of the like, how do I get through it? How do I whatever? Well, one, alcohol left in your body is going to cause like cortisol to spike and is going to cause you to be dehydrated and shaky. And for me, it makes my heart race just anyways,
Uh-huh.
like the dehydration. So like number one, hydrate, like, and actually start to work so that you can separate some of the physical symptoms of anxiety, which are going to show up from the psychological symptoms of anxiety.
It's so hard to separate the two when you're like hungover, like that feeling
Yeah.
of everyone's mad at me, I fucked up, my world is over.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. So hydrate. That will, more quickly offset some of the negative impacts of alcohol
Hmm.
and hangovers. But the other is, I think, like, checking in with a friend and actually like a friend that you trust to be like, who is there if you have somebody or a coworker or, a partner, whatever, and just be like, was I okay? And if they say yes, believe them, right? And like really and truly, like you need to pick somebody that was there that you do in fact trust, assuming you have that person, right? And you know, really letting their word exist. And again, it needs to be somebody that you trust that would also be like, Hannah, it was really bad.
It was
Like,
bad, babe. You have to apologize to some people.
babe, it was bad and you need to apologize. And that's fine too, right? Or the person who's like, girl, like you were a little loud, but like everyone was loud. It was a drunk holiday party. And so like, no, I think you're
okay.
fine. No,
Yeah.
no one said anything to me and like they would have, right? So finding that person you trust, getting your body back on board. Again, to my first point, trying not to get out of control to begin with. And last, I think just generally like being nice to yourself. Like this is no one is perfect. Certainly no one is perfect on alcohol. Even if you think you are for about 35 great minutes, you're not, but that's okay too. And just like be nice to yourself. This is a weird time for everybody that is stressful, that is expensive, that is like, yeah, everywhere you step is a broken Christmas ornament, metaphorically and literally. So like, be
Period.
careful.
I love that. I've also started like pre-gaming with like just a giant cup of water. I love the feeling of doing my makeup and like having something to drink. But like
Yes.
I've started doing it with like a sparkling water or like like putting some fun like electrolyte powder that tastes good in water and like pre-gaming
Yeah.
with water, which makes me feel better because I think it's like you go into those situations thinking, well, I need to be buzzed because I'm socially anxious. And then you get
Yeah.
there and you drink more and then you're like,
Yeah.
well, now I'm even more socially anxious because I don't feel fully in control of myself. And if it's like you said, if it's people that you don't know that well, or if it's people you know in like a professional capacity, I think putting yourself in a position to be empowered is the move because unfortunately, if you don't know someone that well, you don't know if they're going to be like a judgmental asshole if you get too fucked up. And do I think that people should be judgmental assholes when someone gets too fucked up at a holiday party? No. And you can't really fully control that. But the important thing is that like you can go home and wake up the next day being like, I like how I acted. I liked the version of
Yeah.
myself that I put out there and that feels in alignment with who I am. And now I can just like go about my day.
Totally. Totally. And like everybody should treat everybody kindly, but also set yourself up for success, Diva.
Exactly. Exactly. I
Yeah.
do like, I think like judgy people can fuck off when people are
Yeah.
trying to party and have fun. But also it's like, yeah, if you like made a scene and you were like a drunk, sloppy mess, then like, yeah, like let's try and avoid that.
Yeah. Well, and also like, we're all judging people all the time because even like, I really like you. That's a great sweater. That's such a funny joke. That's all judgment, right? Like that's all.
100%.
So like judgment is not necessarily the enemy here, but I think also letting yourself, like if somebody's going to negatively judge you and they're not somebody that's close to you and they're not somebody that matters, then like it kind of doesn't matter.
Oh, that's so real, but that's really hard.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it is, and also like, I also would encourage you to think about that when you're judging somebody negatively too. Is like, yeah, I maybe didn't love that person's jokes, or like, I think that person's like kind of a mess, but like, I'm not going into business with them. Like, I'm not
Totally.
dating them. So like, people are also allowed to be unpleasant for you, and like
Totally.
you can let that go. Like, you don't even need to take someone else's unpleasantness personally, which
That's
is another inside out version of all of this.
Yeah, that's also hard for me. Sorry, really quick tangent. I saw Wicked for Good last night.
Oh my God, I was thinking of Wicked for Good the whole time I was talking about this. I have a story too. Tell me about it.
Well, I was just so emotional about Glinda because like I think a lot of us, I'm going to speak for myself here, like I can see myself in her so much where like she's been raised to think that like if I'm well liked, then I am safe. And even if I'm like, I just want to do the right thing based on what's going to make me the most broadly liked. And then that can sometimes be in opposition to like what she actually believes and what she actually wants to do. And riding that line and being like, well, I don't want to be a doormat, but I don't want to be disliked. And I just feel like Glinda is like a glamorous people pleaser. And I see so much of myself in her. And that's why I was like a puddle during that movie because I was like, she's holding so much. And I think we can
Oh yeah.
all feel that way.
Oh yeah. No, she is holding so much. She's trying so hard. Also, like this navigating the politics of that she's navigating in that. It's so real, right? She's like,
Yes.
I understand these liberators that are my friends that I love. And I also understand that like these people in power are doing the wrong thing, but are not wholly savage and evil. And how do I balance that? I mean, like really, yeah, very, very politics at the table.
No kidding.
But yeah, I thought she was great in it.
Oh, give her the fucking Oscar. I swear.
I
I
loved her in it.
died. I
Yeah.
loved her in it. Yeah. And I mean, I guess that's kind of a good natural segue for all the people pleasers listening. I think there's a lot that feeling of I'm safe if I'm liked, I think is something that a lot of
Yeah.
us are taught, especially by like maybe our parents. It can be very
Right.
generational. And during the holidays, I think there is so much pressure. And I think inevitably at some point we all feel like we've let someone down, whether it's like I couldn't afford that gift for my kid, or I couldn't make it to that holiday party, or I got too fucked up last night. Whatever the feeling is, that's such a normal feeling to have come up during the holiday season. So I guess like, how do you navigate like how do you suggest navigating that feeling of I'm going to start with like the example of like if I can't make it to a holiday party and I'm feeling like I let someone down. How can we deal with that? It's a word
Well,
salad.
I think one of the big things to do is be as proactive as possible with all of this, right? Like the second you realize you can't make it, tell them. Telling people early, especially the earlier you tell somebody, if there's a real conflict involved, like the better, right? We often are like, oh no, this is a conversation I don't want to have. So I'm going to put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. And now I'm going to tell them during their party that I'm not coming to their party,
Yeah.
which is not the look.
We've all
Or,
done it.
right, we've all done it. Or if you do like find yourself in a situation, this happened to me the other day, where a friend of mine was in a show, like he was doing like a live podcast recording. He was a guest on one of it, and he's not somebody who shows up on a lot of podcasts. This was a big deal. He was really excited. I bought tickets for it, and stupid me, like my Google alert for like it was in my Gmail, so I got like a ticketing alert, and I got the alert 10 minutes before the event started, and it was on a Monday night, and I had just like gotten off a long day at work, and I was literally like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be in Glendale. I live in West Hollywood in 10 minutes to see this thing. And I just immediately like sent a text because I was like, hey, I love you. I messed up. Like, I'm so sorry. This meant a lot to me. I bought these tickets. I just forgot. I think I had thought it was the week after or
Yeah.
something. It just like completely slipped my mind.
Yeah.
And just immediately sent an honest and direct, like didn't ask it, didn't say, oh my God, forgive me. Oh my God. I was like, hey, I know this meant a lot to you. I really wanted to be there. I'm really sorry I wasn't. And was just very clear and direct. And like, so I would say like when it comes to like letting people down, like the clearer you are about it, because A of all, the last thing you want to do in letting someone down is now make it their job to make you feel better
Right.
about missing their thing.
Right.
And so like being clear, recognizing like, hey, this sucks. I'm really sorry. This means a lot to you, and so it means a lot to me. And I dropped the ball here, and I'm sorry about that. Like an apology does not ask for forgiveness, and like reminding yourself that like apologizing is not the same thing as asking for forgiveness. It's acknowledging that what you've done is harmful, or disappointing, or hurtful, or whatever. Right.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say in general, like, be as proactive as possible. If you know you have a conflict, if you know you have multiple things, like that's totally fine. People know you have pre-existing priorities. I just got invited right before I signed on to this to something tonight by somebody. And it's like, I can't go to that. I already have another plan. For those listening, I'm very cool and important. I'm
Of
very popular.
course. You
Parties on
are.
parties on parties on parties. No, I have a friend's like engagement party tonight, and I just got invited to somebody's like holiday pumpkin foods party, which I was like, that sounds really cute, and I would love to go eat pumpkin food,
But I'm booked.
but I'm booked.
Yeah.
And so like immediately saying that, in my case, I did have to go record a podcast, and so I'll text that person after this podcast. But quickly, he will know that it's not going to be a back and forth will I won't I. That like it's
Right.
just clear.
Yeah. Follow-up question then there is, what do you do if you send that clear, succinct text, you let the person know, and the person pushes back and it's like, well, I would hope you could make time for someone who's so important in your life, and kind of puts pressure on you and like pushes back on your boundary. How do you
Yeah.
say, I'm not taking that shit on. I fucking told you I couldn't make it. Or if they're like, well, why don't you just come after that thing? Or, well, why don't you just like bring your brother who's in town?
Right. I would say like clear is kind, as Brene Brown likes to say.
Oh, I
So
love her.
yeah, she's fab. But I think that like literally saying like, um, you know, I've already committed to this thing, so I'm so sorry. It does matter to me. If we get done early, I will absolutely be there. But the last thing I would ever want to do is like make a promise and then like fall short. And so like I'm letting you know that like I assure you this is absolutely next in line if it's available. But just holding the line, right? Depending on the person, depending on the vibe. Because also if somebody's going to be, upset that, like if this second person who is a lovely person and would not be upset, but like who
Totally.
invited me if somebody who invites you last minute is upset that you're not free, then like that's actually their business. Like that's literally,
100%.
yeah, let them.
I know. Yeah, Mel Robbins, let
Yeah,
them.
let them.
Yeah, that's like I have a hard time letting them, because like again that Glinda feeling of I have to be liked, no one can be mad at me, otherwise I am deeply unsafe. I literally have
Yeah.
like a fight or flight response. But
Yeah.
it is like also I think this time of year can be as overwhelming as it can be. I think it can also be really illuminating about like where your relationships with certain people stand, where it's like you can also be like, do I want people in my life who are going to shit on me when I can't go to something? Like,
Right.
and I'm nice about it and I handle it right. Like, maybe they don't get to be as close with me going into the new year. And like, that's okay too.
100%. I think that like having varying levels of closeness with people is good and is fine. And if you discover with someone that you have incongruent views of how close you are and how important you are, okay, great. I'm so glad we figured this out now. And sometimes that can be some of the more painful things of like, I always like go and pick this person up from the airport and I feel like they would never do that for me. And it's like, great news, babe. That means you need to recalibrate, right? Like that means you need to recognize that like, that's okay, right? That's not the same thing as someone being hateful or manipulative or abusive or any of those things. It just means like, okay, great. Now you know, and you can reassess,
Totally.
reconvene how you need to.
I've been on both sides of that, where I've been like, we're best friends. And the other person's like, nah, I have other best friends. And then I've also been the person that's like, I'm not your best friend. I never signed up to be your best friend. Stop putting all this fucking pressure on me all the time. So it can be hard to navigate.
It's so hard to navigate. And also like that's okay, right? Like we're always in varying levels of closeness, varying levels of dynamic, and that variability is not inherently bad. I was just one of my closest friends of my life that I've known for 21 years, who I would call best friend, like had kids, and like I haven't had a solo trip with her in a long time. We're getting one in February, and in no
Hell
way
yeah.
am I like, fuck you. You should have spent more time with me. It's like, no, you have two kids and she's finishing her PhD. Like she's busy.
Totally.
And like, we still love each other. We're still going to go and hang. And like the intensity of the dynamic has changed, but like, shirt off her back if I needed it. So like, yeah,
Totally.
sometimes those things changing is not trying not to take that personally too.
100%. You
Yeah.
know what I'm finding too? Sorry, another tangent. I'm finding that like making friends in adulthood, I mean, it's everyone knows that that's hard.
Yeah.
But I'm also finding that like me as a person, I don't really see the point of having like acquaintances that I get like one-on-one like drinks with. I'm like, in my mind, it's kind of like dating, where it's like, if I don't see us getting like super close, then like, why are we just hanging out to hang out? But I don't know that that's healthy.
Well, I would actually want to push back on that a little bit
Please.
because I mean, I think of you as a good friend, but also you and I get brunch or drinks like once, twice a year and we like catch up. But like I've always considered you someone like we have a very good friendship and I know we're always
Yeah.
there for each other if ever we need it.
Yeah.
But I think so I think in some ways you and I got started by being next door neighbors, and so we got to know each other quite
Yeah. We got
frequently.
close pretty quickly.
We got close quickly, and we had a lot of like frequent, easy, low stakes interactions. So it could be like, oh,
Totally.
hey, how's it going? How was your day? Oh, yeah, crazy. And now we can do the like, once, twice a year, like catch up. But I
And it's
still consider you
gorgeous.
like a really good friend. But from that view, I could see other people being like, well, that's like an acquaintance because we're not like
Right.
everyday texting. We're not every day checking in. So I don't know. I think that like you can be, you and I are certainly not acquaintances.
Not at
But like
all.
you can be far apart uh interpersonally a lot of the time and like come together for moments of closeness and have that be like a pretty lovely like
That's like
add
ideal for me.
value add to your life. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think for me, it's like if friends are gonna like stick around, it has to be like this. Like it has to be easy. Like neither of us have ever been like, "Wow, it's been 6 months. I haven't heard from you.
Right.
Guess we're
Right.
not friends anymore." Like it's
Right.
never been like that with you, which is why this friendship has been able to like grow and evolve and change as like us and our lives have.
Yeah.
I think it's like when there's that scorekeeping, I just go, "No, I don't want to hang out with you one on one anymore."
Yeah. Well, and I think that like um because of that, the reason that it has worked is because when we come back together, it's always like, "Oh my God, how are you? I miss you. It's so
I'm
good
excited
to see
to
you.
see you.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to see you." And it's never that dynamic of, and I also think that there have been a couple moments where you and I have been like, "Hey, like I miss you. Can we check in?" And like, and when that has happened, the other one has always been like, "Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it." And we've
Totally.
like, yeah. So I think that the key to operationally define what we're saying here, right, is like the key is the sort of ways in which you are engaging in the connection and the attachment. And if you have that sort of secure place of like, you can not say happy birthday to me and still love me, it probably just means you didn't see like
Right.
the thread of whatever's on Instagram, or like you don't have it saved in your thing, which is like fine. And that like recognizing that the relationship is still good and the love is still there, and not everybody's good at that, and sometimes if other people are bad at it, then it's also not fun for you to be a part of it, and so you're sort of like, oh no, I'm actually fine with you not talking to me for a little while, but
Right.
you're not, and so like, I actually don't have time to always be talking to you.
And that can be tough. Yeah, I think it's also like I now I'm just going on tangents. I'm just like I want to be like the other thing that I've been trying to figure out this year, and hopefully this resonates with listeners because I'm hijacking the episode, is like this idea that like, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, that like showing up for the people in your life, like not everyone who wants to hang out with you or get a drink with you counts as the people in your life. Like just because someone wants your time or wants to hang out with you doesn't mean that every time they need you, you have to be at their beck and call. You have your people.
Yes.
You don't need to say yes to everyone just because they ask you for something.
Right. And I often find myself like that is like, I resonate with that. Whether or not the listeners do, I sure do. I often find myself when I am really exhausted, I find myself where I'm like, I have all this stuff with clients, I have boyfriend stuff, I have, other family stuff. And then I have like a dinner that I have to go to that like, and I usually it's a dinner that I have to go to because I've already moved it twice or something like that. And that is the moment that I say to myself, it's always my red flag is I just find myself saying, I'm too many things to too many people.
Yes.
And I like get mad. And that's when I have to be like, yeah, I think that like this, and I don't say this in a crappy way. As I said, it's good to have different levels of friendship with different people. But when I think of like a third tier friend that I'm like, I care about saying hey to you, and I would probably enjoy having dinner with you on a
Yes.
good day. But the bad news is it's a bad day, so
Totally.
I don't have a lot of the space for it, and so being mindful of how to do that as a therapist as well. Like I get a lot of requests from people to do a little check-in or some advice stuff, and a lot of the time I'm really happy to do that. Right, I like being a psychologist. I enjoy taking care of people. I enjoy like, and I've gotten better and better at like sort of high impact, low lift things that I can do. And like, here's some like great advice of who you should go to talk to more about this, or like, this is the way that I think about it. And this is where I would sort of encourage you to explore that versus being the one who's like, let me hold your hand through this and check in with you through this. Cause I can't do that for everybody.
Totally. That's actually a great natural segue, because I also think during this time of year when we're all feeling a lot of feelings, I think it can be really easy to have people in your life that I clocked this with some of my friends lately. I was like, guys, I've been treating you like a complaint hotline. Like, I've had a really rough couple months, and every time I text them, I'm complaining. I'm like, this is going wrong, and this is going wrong, and this is going wrong, and I'm feeling bad. And like, they all showed up, like, and showed out, but they did get to a point where they were like, I'm a little worried about you. You've kind of been on this wave for like a couple months now. I don't know if you're noticing it. Right. But I'm a little concerned. And I immediately got defensive. I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like, ugh. And I felt really like panicky. And so I guess like, what are some tips where if you're kind of in a low place during the holiday season and you find yourself, maybe you're like me and you have an anxious attachment style, or you just are really afraid of sitting in those feelings and being alone, and you find yourself reaching out to the people in your life over and over just to complain over and over. What are some things maybe we could do first alone so that we kind of take some of that weight off of our loved ones and like kind of self-regulate so that we can really get to a point where we know when it's necessary to lean on someone for support, and as opposed to using that as like a knee-jerk, like, I need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think there's a lot of ways to think about this. One, I think when you're going into like a hang with a friend, especially if it's a really good friend, actually thinking before you go into that hangout, what do I want to get out of this? And I know this sounds very therapist-y, but it's almost kind of a couples therapy thing too. When you're like, before you go into this conversation with your partner, think about what you want to get out of it. And often when we find ourselves doing that, we'll notice that like, if it's like an argument, that the answer is like, I want them to understand that I was right. Right. And then when you hear that, you're like, okay, maybe I want them to understand my point of view. Okay. I need to feel understood. Okay. How can I then do that for my partner? How can I do that for myself? Right. And so like with our friends, right, if you're like, I want to talk to this person because I want to catch up. I want to hear how they're doing. I want to get some advice on this like situation. I need cheering up, or I need tough love, like whatever it is that you need. If you think about it beforehand, it's a lot easier to actually like check those boxes. I'm somebody who is often on the other side of that, where I'll be the person that people complain to a lot. And I'll notice if I start to feel like a disproportionate kind of dynamic going in, I have great friends. And so like, I'll have to be like, I need to lead with what I need. Like I need to go into the conversation and be like, babe, can I just do like a tight 15 on like what's going on with like family or work or like relationship or whatever right now? And like, I have to be proactive. And so sometimes I think if you're the person who finds that you're often the one in that spot, you could just do something as easy as starting with like, let's start with you. Right. And so like that kind of framing makes people feel taken care of, because that reciprocity of taking care of one another, of listening to one another, is what makes friendship so great. And often resentments happen when people are falling very naturally into these roles and then never checking up again on what happened. So like, usually it's not that, if you're like, everybody always asks too much of me. Okay. It means you're usually probably letting people do too much and you're not great at asking for it back. Because a lot of the time, the second I, as somebody who's often complained too, the second I started off, my friends are so happy because to help, right? Like
totally.
You're somebody who, when I ask you for advice or ask you for an emotional check-in, you're so like keyed in and you're so there. And a lot of that, I bet, is probably for you kind of a nice break that you're like, great, let me talk about your shit because I'm sick of thinking about my shit.
Yeah.
And like, let's connect on that. And it's not you, at least I've never gotten the sense that you're sitting there thinking like, how many minutes till it's my thing? Like that's not your vibe.
Thank you. That's like my biggest fear.
That would be actually your biggest fear.
I'm like,
no,
oh God.
I've never gotten that impression.
Thank you. No, that's really helpful because I think it's like we're all holding so much, dealing with so much. And I think throughout the holiday season and just in life, we're going to need to lean on each other. And sometimes you have a friend that's like truly going through it. And then
Yeah.
sometimes, and I felt like I'm this person before, you're kind of that friend that's always going through it. And I'm like, babe, at a certain point, you need to reframe things
Right.
because if you are constantly Eeyore and all you're clocking in your life is that things are wrong and
Yeah.
nothing's ever going right, you
Yeah.
might have to examine some of that
You got
because
to
like
reset your algo, baby. Like
you
you
got to reset
gotta,
that algo.
yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
Okay, politics. This is a very politically charged time in this
Hmm.
country. I think we all have some MAGA relatives who love to be like, "Make America great again," and a lot of
Yeah.
them. I'm sorry if you're tuning into this podcast and you think I'm a MAGA person, like buckle the fuck up because I'm not. And I found honestly though, let's try and make this like in general. I think everyone is upset about the way things are going in this country, and I think
Yeah.
sometimes no matter who you voted for, you might say
Hmm.
something that's a little poke because it makes you feel empowered in that moment to be like, fuck
Yes.
you to this other person who you know voted differently.
Yes.
And I know there's a reason for like people being like, you don't talk about politics at the dinner table, but I think it's coming up more and more now because of how upset everybody is.
Yeah.
How do we navigate that? Like, if you have a family member that pokes at you, or you are super passionate about something that comes up at the dinner table, and so you want to take part in the conversation or you want to shut it down, like, how can we handle that?
Well, I think it's there. Picking your battles is a really important thing, and I also say this like as a white person that like sometimes recognizing that like there are a lot of important battles for us to pick. And sometimes when you're in a safe space and you're with family, that might be a really good place to pick that battle. And so when I say pick your battles, I don't mean don't pick battles. I mean to say that like sometimes there are great times to like speak up. And then also as white folks, there are times to shut up and let other people talk about what their experiences are. So I think picking your battles is really important. I think recognizing what it is. I think the sort of like, the better ways to like, if somebody has already picked a battle and you're in it, I think that like curiosity is the kind of most incredible tool that you can have in one of these conversations, not correction, right? Because the second you go into like a debate, both people, similar to what I was talking about before, right? Think about how you're going into it and what you want to get out of it. And I think if you actually spent time trying just to be curious about why they believe what they believe, which is not the same thing as deciding to believe what they believe or taking their side by any means. But I think if you come at what they're saying with curiosity, then like you can actually be a lot more helpful. And sometimes like that curiosity can also be a really powerful sort of antidote. Like when somebody you can help somebody put themselves in their place too with curiosity. If somebody comes in with a racist joke and you say, but can you explain what you mean by that?
Whew.
But like, what do you mean? And they're now having to be like, oh,
Oh, I'm
what
racist.
what I mean is like this stereotype about those people. And you can be like, oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I
Right?
was a bit
Which
confused.
I
I
was a
don't really
bit
get the
confused.
joke.
But yeah. Or like I didn't think you would mean that, but I guess you did. Okay. Like
So that is what you meant. Okay,
yeah,
just so I
yeah.
understand. Yeah.
That can be really, really helpful. But yeah, I think recognizing that like your drunk uncle is not in a place to engage. So like also assessing as we go back to talking about things like alcohol, assessing where they're at mentally, chemically, because sometimes like people are coming in to pick a fight. And if somebody's there to fight, like great news, y'all are not going to solve immigration at your Thanksgiving dinner table. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of y'all are at some powerful tables who are listening to this. I'd hate to condescend to the listeners of this
Of
podcast and
course.
assume that they're not geopolitical movers and shakers.
Part of the United Nations.
Right, exactly. But so like, recognizing like what am I trying to get out of this and what's going to happen. And so like if you're talking to somebody drunk who's insisting on saying racist things, like the answer can just be as little as like, yeah, we're not going to go there and like shutting it down. And I think a little
Totally.
bit of like a stonewall is also like fine. Cause again, like if somebody's going to be mad at you for like not laughing at their racist joke, like
That's on
who
them.
cares? Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I think that like generally speaking, again, to sort of make it explicit, right? Like think about what you want to get out of it. Engage with curiosity when you can and assess like what the actual outcomes of this might even be. And then if you need to put up a boundary, put it up. Go for a walk.
Go for a walk, get that ice,
Cry it out in the bathroom.
cry it out in the bathroom. And
Let's not bring up ice.
oh yeah, no, never
Not
mind.
at Thanksgiving.
Not at Thanksgiving. So would you say that coping, those coping tips could kind of work with like anything, whether it's like, when are you getting married? Are you guys having kids? Like those kinds
Oh,
of
yeah.
questions too. Can you simply just say, hey, I know you're asking because you love me and you're curious, but I don't really want to talk about that today.
Yeah, I think you
Is it that
absolutely
simple?
can. I mean, I some people will have already like cope with like humor and things like that. So like giving yourself like a quick one-liner that's already ready to go,
Totally.
and you know what I mean. Like, and so like figuring out what works and what you want to. Also, like people don't need to know any more than you want to tell them about your life. I don't encourage folks to lie generally because that just makes things complicated. But like vagaries can always help. So like when are you getting married? Being like, if you figure it out, let me know. Or, whatever.
Totally.
And like giving
Keep it
yourself
cute.
keep it cute and put it on mute. You know what I mean? Like that. Like just there are ways to move through it. I think that like if it's somebody you have enough of a relationship with, if it's your mom, if it's something like that, where like, hey, when are you getting married? When are you gonna have a baby? Sometimes even saying like to sort of flip what I had said and being like, you will be the first to know.
Love
You,
that.
you will be the first to know.
I can't wait to tell you when it happens, but
I
it's
can't
not
wait to tell
happening
you when
right
it
now.
happens. But no ring on the finger right now.
Not
And
today.
that's great because I got my hand up a turkey's ass. So like we're not gonna no room. No room
Listeners, write
today.
that one down. That's a good one.
Yeah. Only works if you're stuffing a
If
turkey,
you're
or I guess if you have a really kinky family, then like that could work too. Yeah.
Thanksgiving fisting. At the end of the year, so many of us are burned out, and there's all this kind of rhetoric around like, what have you done this year? Or like, who are you going to be next year? And I saw this TikTok of yours that I really loved about self-love fueling real change as opposed to self-hatred. And I
Yes.
think that's really relevant here. Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like we often use self-criticism as a tool, similar to like we talked about your parents, right? Like our parents taught us that if we bully ourselves, that that's grounded in an idea of like growth and change and development, right? And recognizing that like that, all that serves to do is like wear away your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And so recognizing that like if you want to make a change, especially at the end of the year, people start to toddies and what they want their body goals are, or they start to talk about like swimsuit season, yada, 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 right? And so like recognizing that like whatever you've achieved this year, you've achieved. This has been a gnarly year to be a person. So if you
Yeah.
made it through, that's an achievement, right? And so like to set goals that are based in like self-love is to start with loving where you're at. Start with loving who you are. Start with loving how you look. Start with loving what you can, right? And then if you want to, if you want to motivate yourself in towards something in the future, motivate that as something you're bringing yourself along with, not as something that you are running away from, right? If what
Totally.
you want is to be in better shape, I would encourage you to set goals that are not weight or body or size specific. Try to set goals of like, I'd like to run a 5K, right? Like set a goal. Like I would like to do, 3 gym classes a week or like whatever your goal is, and trying to set that in the achievement of what you're doing, not the outcome of how you look.
Totally.
Because a lot of time what you end up doing then is like hating trying to hate yourself into motivating yourself into going to the gym. And now it's like, cool, now I'm at the gym and I hate myself. So this is not great, right? And so
Right.
then if you do lose weight, now that weight loss is a reaction to this like fatter version of yourself in your brain that is somehow worse. And so now you're always running away from a version of yourself that like survived whatever you've survived, right? Like
Totally.
it's harsh. It's way harsh, Ty.
It's way harsh, Ty. I also was thinking about doing this thing going into like New Year's Eve where I want to write down like every month of the year in bullets and then write under it like things that I did that month that I loved.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not all achievements, but maybe it's like, oh my God, I went on that great trip with like my friend, or, or I
Yes.
had a really fun birthday party or shit like that.
Yeah. Which also
Eh,
like is an achievement.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Because I do think sometimes, you see people on the internet being like, I got promoted this year, I got
Right.
married, I went to Paris, I lost 1 million pounds. And you're like, what the fuck have I done? But we've all done something, even if it's just making it through this year.
Making it through this year, making it through Thanksgiving, paying your taxes, paying your
Paying those
bills.
taxes. Hmm.
Yeah, like whatever it is that you've like done, letting that be something you have done and gotten through, right? We often do this thing where we discredit the sort of like middle ground, like milieu accomplishments of like whatever it is, right? And like in doing so, we're then like, no, it's only an achievement if I get a promotion. It's only an achievement if I have a baby. It's only an
Totally.
achievement if like I buy a house or like whatever. When it's like, I don't know, I think paying your rent on time for 12 months is a pretty solid achievement that like a lot of people are not able to do. And so
Yeah.
like recognizing like these little things that we are doing, or even if it's I paid my rent on time 6 months this year, like
Hell yeah.
whatever it is,
In
right?
this
Like
economy,
in this economy, right? Like things are more and more expensive and things are difficult. So like recognizing that like a lot of things can be an achievement. I managed to clear a weekend and go somewhere with my friend. And like, yeah, all we did, we went to, we live in LA. So like we went to San Diego, but we did it for
mhm,
a weekend. We didn't get on a plane or need a passport, but like we did it and it was fun and we caught up. Right.
totally.
Like, yeah. So letting these things, letting living your life actually include a lot of successes that we sort of accept as just like whatever. Or honestly, especially if we're talking about folks that are really feeling depressed or really feeling anxious, like I like got out of bed and showered every day this month, right? Which when you are really depressed is really hard to do, right? I was anxious and I still managed to make it to my company's holiday party. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, that should be a given. That's just what anybody does. First of all, it's not what everybody does. And I bet you not everybody was at your holiday Christmas party or holiday party.
Hmm.
But like recognizing that like just because you're discrediting it doesn't mean it doesn't actually deserve credit.
Completely. That's so true. Truly, when I'm depressed, I'm like, wow, I brushed my teeth today. Amazing.
It's so good,
I,
right?
I
Like it's so
returned a phone
important.
call. Like, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Letting yourself have a little win.
Exactly. I want to hear about your new business. So you're
Yes.
starting a new business.
Yes.
Everyone needs to follow you on TikTok too. Obviously, we'll get to that. But tell us about your business.
Yeah. So, my whole life, I was a dancer as a kid, and I became a dance teacher when I moved to LA. And throughout, I always have used sort of like physical movement in a big way as my own therapy. And so like in the last like 5, 6 years, had gotten this kind of idea, and this is actually the first official place that I'm announcing it. So I've gotten the idea to create a program in Los Angeles that is a combination of group fitness and group therapy, where what we do is we work together to sort of untangle our relationships to our bodies, to exercise, to our diet, to food. And we spend time kind of in community processing some of that together. And then we also engage in physical exercise that is not based in weight loss, that is not based in appearance, right? Because there are so many incredible mental health benefits of exercise, but those mental health benefits only exist if you're being mentally healthy while you are exercising. I could run 5 miles because I want to like challenge myself. I want to get a better time. I want to see like, I want to reset the day after a long day at work. Or I can run 5 miles because I'm a fat piece of shit and I ate that whole Big Mac last night and I'm a disgusting person if I don't run 5 miles. Both of
Mm-hmm.
those versions, 5 miles, who is having a better day, right? And so the
Mm-hmm.
goal of this group is, and we're just sort of starting in beta testing, we're just starting to launch it. So please, 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 the best way if you are interested in getting involved is to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I know that sounds horrendous, but
No, it doesn't.
I just mean follow me. So in the next few weeks, we're going to launch a mailing list, and we're going to do some surveys to actually figure out like scheduling and timing. And whether people also would like the option of individual personal training and individual therapy that would be a part of this program. So in order to figure out everybody's schedules for a group cohort experience like this, It's just going to be a little bit of back and forth of like, hey, this is the info. Here are the options. What works for you? And then we're going to get everybody's info. And then we're going to put out a schedule and get started in the beginning of January.
Oh, that's so exciting. What an amazing way to start the year, too. Like, what a gift to give yourself.
Yeah, I think, and my goal in this is to really like not just help people exercise and help people to like feel better, but to create community with people, because I think it's so much more powerful to hear what someone else has experienced in fitness or in diet. And you get that vicarious learning in a group therapy setting where you get to hear it, but then you also can like connect to these people and be friends with these people afterwards. And, and the goal, I have big dreams and hopes for this of where it could go in the future, but like, it really feels like the kind of thing that could like change lives. And I don't mean that in the corny, like Biggest Loser nightmare festival kind of way of like being skinny will change your life. I mean, like, giving people more ways to cope with depression, anxiety, family stress, life stress, which like exercise is really good at that if you are exercising with a healthy mindset. And there's almost nothing out there, really almost nothing out there in the physical fitness space that is attuned to mental wellness.
Totally.
It's almost all weight loss. It's almost all body. It's almost all like getting that, trying to be sexy when like, honestly, like, having fun and being confident is sexy.
So sexy.
And a great way to build confidence is to actually engage with your body and get good at some stuff that like has previously felt like it's not available to you, like it's not yours to have. The gym isn't a place where you get to have success. And in this program, we're going to shift what success in the gym looks like. We're going to talk about the number of reps you can do, or the amount of weight you can lift, or the time you can run something, or the flexibility that you have, or like just all of these different things, how long you can hold a plank, and realizing that like we're starting from scratch, and like starting from scratch is great. And so like really trying to like shift everybody's viewpoints of like what success looks like, and letting yourself be a beginner at things, which as adults we don't like to do.
It's so uncomfortable to be a beginner.
Yeah. We're like, oh, I'm supposed to be a professional because other people my age are professionals at this. And it's like, no.
Right. Oh my God. If I had a nickel for every time I was having like a bad body day, and then I bullied myself into doing a YouTube workout, and then I couldn't do the YouTube workout, and I'm literally like swearing at the YouTube instructor, being like, fucking bitch, because I can't do anything. And then I feel 50 times worse. And I'm like, this is why I don't want to work out. Like, fuck that. I feel like shit. It's horrible. So I think having a positive shift around it, where it's like, oh, this is actually something that is me doing something nice for myself, as opposed to me bullying myself, is huge. And it's the only way to have any sort of sustainable relationship to movement and exercise, I've found.
100%. And because like you have to move your body, that is important. And so finding a way to be able to get back into exercise, because wherever our bodies are at, if we've not been exercising, starting sucks, right? And so like getting good at that starting, getting good at it being, not great, not easy, is hugely important. And also getting good at recognizing the things you are good at, right? So you could you could have a safety little comfort YouTube workout that you're like, you know what? This is a workout and it is so low impact and I can do all of it. And that's what I did today. And it's like, great. That's actually wonderful. If that's all you did, then like, that's fine. You don't have to fail at it in order for it to have been worthwhile.
That's so true. Like I have been out of my routine for the last 2 months, and this is the first week where I'm actually like able to like work out as often as I normally do. And literally, I had like a mental breakdown 2 days ago. I went to a couple workout classes and I feel like so back. And I was like, I cannot let physical movement slip through the cracks again, because my brain like literally needs it. But one of those workouts I did was literally a 6-minute arm video with like pretty low weights. And I was like, I worked out today. Amazing.
100%.
And it was great. I was in a good mood after. I was like, am I so strong and shredded? This is incredible.
Yeah. You seem so strong and shredded.
Thank you so much. Even though it's not about being shredded, you guys. That's amazing.
Emotionally shredded.
There it is.
You're
There's
mentally
the shift.
stacked.
I literally have a 6-pack in my brain.
Yeah.
Well, everyone needs to follow you on Instagram and TikTok. What is your handle? And also, everything will be in the show notes for you guys too.
Yes, my handle is at Dr. DRJD Barton, Barton, DRJD Barton.
I love it.
On TikTok and Instagram.
I love your videos. I'm so excited. Do you have a couple more minutes to get into some listener questions?
I would love to.
Amazing. Okay, first question. How to avoid eating when you aren't hungry, even if everyone else is? And then another question that was kind of similar was, how should we respond to the toxic positivity around food? Sometimes I am actually full.
Oh, yes. Great questions. Really good questions. So, mindful eating is a really important skill to have. So for folks that struggle with like overeating or boredom eating, I actually encourage you to try to find ways where you're never eating and doing something else, right? So like if you struggle with like overeating, binge eating, eat as much as you want. Do not restrict by any means. Turn off the TV while you are eating and let yourself just eat. So that you are checking in. Another way to do so is small portions, which is not to say that that's your maximum, but eat. If you get a lot of takeout and you find yourself accidentally finishing the whole takeout, that you're like, oh, this is like enough food for two people. I'm over full. I feel gross. I feel out of control. Put it in a small bowl. And you're allowed to have as many go backs. You're allowed to get seconds, thirds, fourths of that small bowl. But what it'll do is it'll pause you and it'll check with your body, because what we want to do is connect our mind to our stomach so we have an understanding of how full we are, because feeling overfull is brutal. And so when I say portion control, again, you can have as many portions as you want, but sometimes giving yourself like a clear start and stop, and then letting yourself re-up as you want to. When it comes to things like holiday parties and all of that, again, I am not a fan of restricting. It leads to a lot of the stuff that I talked about. It leads to sort of anytime you believe that you would be better if there was less of you and your body in the world is like such a harmful viewpoint anyways.
Right.
But if you're going to a holiday party or something like that, eat dinner beforehand. I also talked about the drinking of it all, right? Like let yourself eat a meal where you're going to get the like greens, you're going to get nutrients, you're going to be fed, because also like you'll get to a holiday party and it's just like pigs in a blanket and Chex Mix and like brownies, which again, all of those are foods that can be wonderful in your diet, but you also need vitamins. You need nutrients.
Totally.
You need some protein in there. So like just being mindful that like if you eat a little bit beforehand, you're going to feel better. You're not going to eat 16 pigs in a blanket, which we've all done and should not experience shame over. But like, yeah, so I would say practice eating mindfully, which is only eating while you're eating. And then also like just maybe setting yourself up with like a meal before you go to a party or something. And that'll also allow you to not kind of accidentally overeat.
Love that. Best steps to take when the voice in your head starts telling you that you're fat, you hate how you look. There's nothing worse than getting ready for like a holiday event and you're like, I feel like ass about myself today.
Yeah. So I think when you've got this like really harsh negative self-talk, I always like to try to speak to that self-talk, speak to that negative self-image incrementally, right? Because when anybody's like, I look fat, I look gross, I look whatever, and the answer is like, you're gorgeous. You look amazing. Yeah. You are that bitch 100% of the time. Your anxiety, your depression, whatever that inner voice is going to be like, you sound fucking stupid. Like
yeah,
I don't now, not only do I not believe you, but now you've lost all credibility for me. So, I talk a lot with folks in general about like, if you've put on weight and you don't like how your clothes fit you, get new clothes. And that can be through Goodwill. That can be through Zara, again, killing the planet. But like, we're talking about your body and we're not going to save both at the same time. But like, get new clothes, get clothes that fit, get things that you like. Now we all have, days where like our hair is not sitting the way we want it to. We all have days where like I don't do makeup, but mostly because I'm so bad at it that like I couldn't even if I wanted to. I'm so bad. But like your makeup, you just cannot get right that day. Like
The
it's just
worst.
not whatever. So like let yourself have incremental wins, right? Like if you're like, I look so fat today. Okay, wear your most gorgeous, luxurious coat that you have so that at the very least you're like, this is a fucking beautiful coat. Let yourself have a small win because the answer to being like, I feel fat is not to be like, you're skinny because
So
it's
true.
not going to work. So find ways that you can say, I feel fat, but I look gorgeous because this coat is everything. These shoes are a moment. I never wear them. I'm always worried they're going to get stepped on or whatever. And I'm wearing them tonight because they're gorgeous shoes. Like let yourself enjoy the experience of being in your body. And again, the goal of this is not to say to yourself, because also like, we live in such a fat phobic world that like, being like, I look fat is like only ever seen as a bad thing. When like there are lots of ways that like lots of you could be real fat and that's real gorgeous and more to love and more on you. And so trying to find ways to appreciate your body and appreciate your experience that is not penalizing you rather than just buying into fat phobia and being like, I look fat and it's like, no, you look skinny is also not the answer.
So true. Because
So
it's,
like finding
yeah.
beauty. Yeah. I cut you off.
No, no, literally, I cut you off. No, literally, just you're like, the trying not to talk yourself out of something that's true to you. Like if you're like, I feel fat, gaslighting yourself and being like, but I'm actually skinny. Like I understand that's not going to work. That makes sense. But
Yeah.
I've done it so many times where like you think someone telling you that you look skinny is going to be the thing that makes you feel good. And like it isn't. Because if you feel like shit about yourself, you're still going to feel like shit about yourself.
Yes. And like this was made really clear for me once when a friend of mine, she said to me, she was like, God, in COVID, I've just gotten so fat. And I was like, you look gorgeous. And she was like, I didn't say I wasn't gorgeous. I said I was fat. And I was like, diva. Yeah.
You're like, yes. Well,
Good-
that's the other
good
thing
for you.
too, where it's like, yeah, it's like maybe I am fat. And then what?
And then you can still be stunning. You can still enjoy your
Exactly.
day. You can still enjoy your party. You can still enjoy your
Exactly.
life. And like, again, hating yourself for how much of your body exists is trouble.
Yeah, we don't want to bring
Trouble.
that into 2026. And it's very hard because TikTok, like diet culture, is so toxic. And there's just this, like, we're seeing all these women in Hollywood lose astonishing amounts of weight, and it can be really, really triggering. So having these, like,
Really triggering.
yeah, having these conversations with ourselves is really important. I mean, like, thanks to social media, I feel like that scene in Mean Girls where it's like I'm finding insecurities I never knew I had just
Yeah.
because of like how fucking toxic the conversations online are around bodies. So like stuff like that, like dialogues like this that we can have with ourselves are really, really important.
Yes. Oh,
Thank you.
we have, especially right now, there's so many like weight loss meds and plastic surgeons on these things. And listen, I don't follow weight loss meds, but I follow plastic surgeons because it's so fascinating. To
Me too. I'm the
watch.
same way where I'm like, you can do that?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so like it is like hard not to like be to buy in on all of this. And also like some people are having a lot of success with weight loss meds, and that is those are medicines that are there to treat things that exist that they started as diabetes medications, and this is helping people to no longer be diabetic, right? That
Totally.
have type 2 diabetes. And there are a lot of ways to engage with those medications unhealthily. There are a lot of ways to, abuse those medications, which is not me saying that everybody that is thin is abusing those medications.
Of course.
But like the way in which you engage with that matters so much. Matters so much.
Which is why we love a self-care mute.
We love a self-care mute. We live for a self-care mute. If something is making you sad, mute it. That's not even personal. Like if it's
No.
your friend and your friend's like got a million posts about their like wedding planning and you're like, this is bumming me out. I am not married and I do not want to see this. Self-care mute, and if they call you out on it, be like, babe, I love you. I had to self-care mute for me. I'm thrilled for you. And I
Yeah.
didn't like I didn't like how stuff was making me feel. And I know that was on me and that was of me and not about you. And so like if somebody ever calls you out on a self-care mute, be like, babe, I did that because I love you and I found myself being not loving toward you. And
Yeah,
that's all. That's why it was a mute and not a block, right? Like that's why,
exactly.
yeah, we love a self-care mute. Don't mute as often as you need to,
Yeah, live, laugh,
and block
mute.
too. But yeah, live, laugh, mute.
And block. We need to normalize blocking. If someone is truly toxic and you're like, I have to eternal sunshine them out of my life, like
A
that's
hundred
okay too.
percent. Yeah. If you need somebody out of your life, like let it go. Or honestly, sometimes I even block content creators that I don't know personally,
Totally.
that I'm just like, I don't like what you're doing. And I don't like that the algorithm is serving you to me. And I'm going to empower myself to say like, bye. Like this is not,
Totally.
I don't
The
like
amount of
this.
people I've blocked this year, it is empowering though, because and I think for a while I was like, I don't want them to think that I'm like a loser for blocking them and, blah, 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 and they're gonna think I'm so dramatic. And it's like it's not for them, it's for you.
Oh, 100%. If there's somebody who's like, the way that they're talking about or engaging with their body is making you sad, like that's not even that, maybe that way talk of doing it works for them. If it does not work for you, then bye.
Then
We gotta
goodbye,
go.
Kyle.
Goodbye, Kyle.
How to find balance when it's Christmas, my birthday month, and New Year's. We have a holiday season baby who wrote in.
Wow. Christmas, birthday month, and New Year's. I mean, I would say like you've already lived long enough to have all this, so I don't know that I'm going to blow your mind with new things, but I would say like making sure that you let yourself rest, giving yourself very intentional downtime,
Love.
making sure that you have nights that you are not going to a holiday party on a weekend before you go home for Christmas, before you go home for New Year's, like giving yourself some like very intentional bookended rest. I would also say probably like depending on how you like to celebrate your birthday. If you're a Leo, it's probably going to be real exhausting, but you're clearly not because it's your birthday this month. But like Leos love a
they have
birthday month.
a moon or a rising, Leo moon
Yeah.
or rising.
You know what? If you're a Sagittarius, depending on when your birthday is,
True.
then this probably does apply to you, fire sign. But I would say making sure that your birthday gets to be its own thing. If your birthday is between Christmas and New Year's, like, and you're a Capricorn, like, slay, good for you. Then like letting yourself have a night that is your birthday, and also being gentle with people that like people have places that they have to be and they have to travel, and like if you need to celebrate your birthday with them in a one-on-one dinner later on, like let that exist, let that be the thing, and not take that personally that they're like not at your thing. And as I
Totally.
would imagine Sagittarians have this even more because all the holiday parties are in the beginning of December.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, letting yourself maybe have some one-on-one birthday moments, if not everybody can make it to your like big birthday festival.
Totally.
Yeah.
Love. Last listener question is endless spending on things we don't need, but I'm an environmentalist. Help.
Oh, so real.
That's tough.
Yeah. And so I am not an economist by any means, but I will say I do not have unlimited funds, and I do try to be as good a patron of the arts and the planet as I can be. So I would say like being really mindful of like where and what and how you're spending, right? If you're doing all of your Christmas shopping or holiday shopping last minute, so you have to buy everything on Amazon, so it has to be in 2 days and like yada, yada, yada. You know, this is still, you guys are getting this the day before Thanksgiving. We have a little less than a month before Christmas. So like being a little more proactive allows you to be a little more carbon neutral. And then also recognizing that like I love a dinner as a gift. I love
too.
saying to somebody like, as I sort of dropped it into the thing about people coming to your birthday or not, right? Like if you can't do something, be like, I'd love to take you to dinner, right? Going to dinner, again, there's almost nothing that's an entirely carbon neutral act these days, but dinners are a great way to support local economies. They're a great way to like sustainably engage with food. And so like great way to do less output, less consumption.
Yes.
Yeah, because the overconsumption is bad. Also, like, you know, being mindful that like, are you buying a bunch of plastic Christmas decorations that you're going to throw out? Like trying not to do that.
Totally. Or like getting creative. Like last year I made like a paper chain that I was like, okay, I'm gonna pack this
Cute.
away and like use this again next year. And it's very like whimsical. So I think getting creative with your decor or getting people secondhand books as gifts, usually really affordable. You can write a thoughtful note in it.
That
And
is so good. Yeah, it divests from evil companies
yes,
and yeah, it keeps books going around. And if you find finally thoughtful book, and also like some people depends on think of who you're giving this to, but giving somebody a thoughtful book with an inscription in it from you on why you
yes,
thought they would like that is like a really sweet gift, especially if it's also like a little bit of like a visual aesthetic, and then it can also be decor.
totally.
It's an old book.
Or when in doubt, frame a photo.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good way to not get someone something useless. And I think sentimental gifts are always just like they're very touching because how many of us have like that one photo with our friends where we're like, that's a great photo. I should frame it. And then you never actually frame it. I think that's a
right.
really good gift. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
totally.
I think we gave some good advice on that one.
I think we did.
Okay, this is my last section and it's called Grow Up. I'm
Love
going to
that.
name a situation where I think people need to grow up and we're going to talk about it. And this is relevant to everything we've been talking about.
Great.
Grow up commenting on people's bodies during the holidays. Grow up.
Oh, grow up year round commenting
Year
on people's
round.
bodies. If it is not your body, if you are not touching it, if it is not yours, shut up. Even if you are touching
Shut
it,
up.
maybe especially shut up. But no, grow up. Like talking about people's bodies around the holidays when you are traveling, when we are eating, when we are whatever. Also, let our bodies be however our bodies are going to be. Plus,
Period.
you don't know what is going on with someone. And so commenting on a change in their body can be a hardcore booby trap or deep, 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 deep shame. And you never know, like, especially like in you and I are in our 30s, like commenting on somebody's body and being like, wow, you've gained weight or whatever. And you don't know if that person is like, well, I just had a miscarriage after a number of months. And so like not
100%.
only deeply sad, but you have also now harmed me just by commenting on how I look. Like you
Totally.
never know. You never know. Thinking about how you just never know what somebody's going through, right? They're like, oh, wow, they've gained weight. And it's like, yeah, because they're using food to cope while their parent is dying. I'm so
100%.
sorry that upsets
Been there.
you. Of course.
Food and
Yes.
drink, baby.
Food and drink.
Or if someone's like really thin and it's like maybe they're not like struggling with an ED, maybe they have some like weird stomach issue where they're like in huge amounts of pain every day and they've lost
Yes.
all this weight and everyone's like, you look amazing. And it's like,
Yeah.
really? Because I'm suffering because my stomach isn't functioning properly right now. Like you just don't know.
Commenting includes compliments.
Exactly.
Commenting includes compliments. Yeah, I literally had this exact thing, Hannah, last year. I had some sort of weird thing going on with my stomach where for like, of the first 2 months of the year, I spent about 6 of those weeks really nauseated, like uncomfortably
Horrible.
nauseous, could barely eat. And I had somebody at the gym who literally said to me, like, you have never looked so shredded. And I literally was like, I have not eaten for 2 months. So
Oh my
thank
God.
you. Like, I was like, you don't. And I was like, it was one of those things that, like, again, because we're fat phobic, it was not such a harmful thing to say, but it also was me. I did say out loud to this person, like, I haven't been able to eat. So that's what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
I will continue to eat and I am committed to eating. But yeah, like you even saying somebody looks thin, you also don't know where, if somebody is in a restrictive period and like complimenting them for like being a week or two into restricting, you've now created 6 to 8 months of restriction that could be really, really detrimental to this person's health. Just don't.
Just
Just
don't.
don't.
So let's just say, weight aside, you just think someone looks great. You haven't seen them in a while. Can you say to someone like, you look amazing? Or like,
Yeah.
or
think
like
so.
something specific, like, I love that dress. You look awesome.
Of course. Yes. I think that like, I love your dress. You look beautiful. Your makeup's hair and makeup always, always, always open. That is effort that people have like put in.
Exactly.
Right. Hair, makeup, clothes. That's all choices. Right. And so like that's something that like has space. Again, compliments are safer, which is not to say that like
You gotta be careful.
there's not a singular rule, right? Being like, you look so good in that dress, and then following it up with like, I could never, I'm too fat, or like whatever. Insulting yourself, how you talk about yourself is how other people think you talk about them. So
I love that TikTok.
thank you. So also recognize that like insulting yourself is not the same thing as complimenting somebody else.
So true.
But yeah, I think you can talk about people's appearance, but I think really specifically commenting on someone's body is bad news.
Grow up.
Grow up. really.
Grow
And then
up.
people getting mad that you got mad that they commented on your body, grow up.
Grow up. Also, last thing I want to say about compliments, don't tell someone that their dress looks flattering or like that outfit's really flattering on you because the
Yikes.
subtext of that is like what not to wear, like toxic early 2000s bullshit where it's like
Yes.
it really hides your fat arms nicely. You know what I mean? Like it's like just tell someone they look nice.
Yeah, I once had somebody, I think about this all the time. I once had somebody in college. I went to college from 2004 to 2008 and I know, right? It was a very weird time sartorially. And I was wearing like a t-shirt with a vest over it. And somebody
course.
came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, I love your vest." And then she paused and goes, "God, I love gay people." And I was like, okay, well, that wasn't great for me.
That's wild behavior.
I was like, just call me the F slur. Like if you need to like that, don't, by the way, those listening, don't
No,
call me the
literally
F slur.
don't.
But yeah, literally like that kind of thing of like, you look, God, I just love your style. Like that can be great. Let it be.
Let it be.
You are so chic. You're so fashionable. You have great taste. Great. Let it be. Never you have great taste for your body. You have great taste for someone your age.
You have great taste because you're gay.
Because you're gay, which also like, LOL, that outfit, I'm sure I looked like I was in like Simple Plan or something like
We
that.
all did, babe. It's okay.
We all did. Yeah, we all really did. Those are bad fashion times and they're low key back. So
Literally wearing a vest as a top is so like hot girl on the improv team, like circa like 2007.
oh my God. Yeah. And I would have been on improv with her.
Exactly.
And it's
Wearing
Rachel
this-
Bloom and she's famous now.
Exactly. Were you really on an improv team with Rachel Bloom?
No.
Oh my God. I was like, no way.
But she would have been doing improv in 2007. So
Totally. With skinny jeans and Converse, the hot girl improv uniform.
100%. Or even just like sometimes she'd wear like a ballet flat, I bet.
Yes, but like it's like one from Target that's like very crushed. Like she's been wearing them for 5 years now and they're like barely hanging on.
Yeah, those like poly blend ballet flats, like no shade to any
No.
of it stylistically, but they fell apart. And it was
They
a lot
did.
of like, these are plastic shoes that have holes in them.
And in my mind, I was like, I'm giving Teen Vogue. I am giving Chanel. I am like
because Chanel really started that ballet
Chanel
flat.
flats,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Dr. JD Barton, thank you so much for coming on. This was truly such a joy. Thank you for all of your insights. I'm so excited about your business, your program that you're starting.
Thank you so much.
Of course, tell the listeners where they can find you one more time.
At Dr. JD Barton, DBARTON. On TikTok and Instagram. If you have questions, y'all, I'm not so big and famous that I can't give you a little point you in some direction and give you some thoughts and things. And especially right now where we're trying to build out this business, if you have thoughts, ideas, any of that, and you want to share it, like I'm so open and I'm so available and I would love to hear that.
Oh my gosh. Love that. Love you. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. Follow me at Hannah Aaron Brown across platforms if you don't already. If you love this podcast, leave it a rating and a review. And also share this episode to your stories, send it to a friend. I really think we could all use it. And so send it to someone in your life who you think could use a little bit of holiday healing and wisdom from Dr. JD Barton.
And from Hannah Aaron Brown.
Love you guys. Thank you for listening. And we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.